Hey everyone, this is CynicalDoc bringing you another audio commentary for WCR replays. And this is going to be a matchup. It's a dual Undead matchup, so if you don't like to watch Undead win, basically, since there's no other choice, this probably isn't going to be for you. And I've got the replay paused at the 2-minute mark right now, and it's at the 1x speed. Fog of War is off, so you can have the vision on either player. It doesn't really matter to me. And I want to give you a little bit to get to that. And the map is Turtle Rock, and it changes based on where the opponents are, it changes the play style a little bit, as you'll see when we get this started. And there's a couple strategies that Undead vs. Undead can do. You saw the ones, if you watched Lito's commentary, where you can go Death Knight first with ghouls and surround and stuff like that. As he says, it's not very common at all. Unless you're in like Korea. I think only the Koreans really use the Death Knight first. But the other options, usually it turns out to be ghouls and Gargs. And I can't stand using Gargs. So what I have to do is win the game early, or at least get myself to a point of advantage where I'll win the game early. So hopefully you're at the 2-minute mark right now. If not, pause the audio and get there. Alright, so we'll unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. Alright. So, the advantages of a Lich Rush on this map, there's two. One, you can hit your opponent really, really fast if they're next to you. This is the lesser of the two advantages, in my opinion, because if you're right next to your opponent and they scout you, if they see the Lich, they're going to know it's coming, basically. And they'll probably get a Spirit Tower up before you even get there, depending on what type of build they want. And if it's across the map, you can basically catch them while they're out of their base. Hopefully, or at least that's the plan. And get around the mine and get into a better position than they could be in, make them waste a TP, all sorts of things like that. On the other hand, Enzyte, like I mentioned before, is going to go with the fast expansion here. And in my opinion, this is the wrong map to do it on, simply because the creeps are a lot harder than, let's say, like the Two Rivers. Like if you're in the southern part of the Two Rivers, a Dreadlord fast expansion is going to work every time, basically. Unless your opponent goes there first. Simply because you can sleep the Null Overseer, who's only level 5. So that keeps him out of action for the full 20 seconds, I think it is, on a level 1 sleep. And then you can take out the rest of the creeps and then take him out. Well, here, you've got either those turtles, which are level 7, and that they do chaos damage. You're going to rip your ghouls apart, especially since you're not going to have very many for the strat. As you can see, Enzyte does not have very many. And on the other hand, you've got like the Forest Troll Warlord, which is level 6, and since you really can't sleep him, he's got True Shot Aura, so that adds damage to the other Troll Berserkers around him. So, Enzyte does a smart move here. He surrounds the Troll Berserker, one of them, and sleeps the other one, and completely ignores the Warlord to begin with. And this is a good idea, my friend, because that Berserker's going to stay asleep the entire time, or so. And they have light, or medium armor, so they're going to die quickly. Now, if you look at the minimap, you can see I'm going to be going and attacking his base right now. I'm going to move in and try and get the mine, but I don't want you to watch that. I want you to watch this expansion attempt here, because this is kind of interesting, and it kind of loses in the game here. He can tell that I'm going to be attacking, because I don't know if he looks back to get an Acolyte or what, but he starts to teleport now, and he doesn't kill off all the creeps, and this is really important. He gets level 2 right there. Now the creeps go straight after Haunted Gold Mine. Now he's busy fighting against me. Those creeps are going to take down that gold mine. So you can go back and take a look at the battle going on now. He's got a lot of really injured ghouls. And I want to get a Nova off, but I hit M instead of N on accident, so I move right towards the ghouls, and that puts my Lich in a really bad spot. So I got that Nova off, and I take down those 2 ghouls behind him. I try to get to move back, but that ghoul blocks me, and now I've got the Nerubian Tower attacking me. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to lose my Lich, and I really can't afford to do that. So once I actually get him out of position, he probably would have been fine, but I teleport out anyway, and I probably could have won the game there, but he's got a Spirit Tower going up, so it could have been iffy. Anyway, I've definitely got a huge advantage here against him, because I've got my tech almost done now. I started my tech when I was not even halfway to his base, and he's still in Tier 1, and he lost that expansion. Now, I have no idea that he tried to even do that. He also ended up losing the Acolyte that went to build it as well. So that's 255 gold or so, I think, down the drain, plus the 75 for the Acolyte. And also his tech's behind. He doesn't have the unit numbers as I do. Because if I'm right, I don't think he killed one ghoul of mine. Maybe, I think he might have killed 1 or 2. And you can see that's really important later on into the game, is that I keep my ghouls alive, and my forces just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And he's just not going to be able to handle it later on in the game. So, now I mentioned Lito's commentary before. If you watched it, he talks about how to do the forest walk and such like that. Now, I've never done it before. I've known about it. You can call it cheating, I guess, or exploiting a bug, which I guess is wrong, but I do it anyway. And it really helps out on the micro. Ghouls are, in my opinion, probably the hardest unit to micro. The only one that might be harder would be archers, because they're so fragile, and they really don't have much mobility until they get their frenzy upgrade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hopefully get all the ghouls with lumber. I think I missed one of them. And then I get a staff of teleportation for my lich. And as you can see, if you look back at my base, I'm already started on my tank to the Black Citadel, and I'm finally getting my graveyard now. The graveyard's really not that important until later in the game, unless you want to get early upgrades. So here I get really lucky, and he moves his Dreadlord against the trees, and I get a nice little surround on him, and I end up wasting a Nova here, because I didn't realize he didn't have a teleport. Like, as soon as I set the Nova off, I'm like, shit, he doesn't have a teleport. I know that already. And that was, I'll admit, it was pure luck on my part. So here I'm going to go with the Spirit Tower, because I think the Spirit Tower is probably like the biggest threat to me right now. And it's going to go down fairly quickly to this number of ghouls. He tries to repair it with the Acolytes, but the Acolytes can't get to it because there's just so many ghouls, both his and mine. So then now I set off a Nova. Now that Nova got all of his ghouls, so it was quite well placed there. And then what I'm doing right now is I'm watching the health bars of my ghouls, as I've got them all selected, and the ones that are taking damage, when they get around half health, I'll click on them, or I should say, click on them twice, hit E, and they force walk back to base. Like, see, that one walks right through my lich there. So I'm not going to lose too many forces here, and the reason I don't mind doing this is because I've got that staff of teleportation on my lich. Here's the minor snag. The Dreadlord can stop the staff of teleportation because you're not invulnerable while using it, and I end up making a mistake here. And it's really not that costly of a mistake because of the amount of damage I managed to do here. See, now he's got that second Spirit Tower up, so I'm going to go after his Acolytes and get the hell out of there. But his Dreadlord is going to finish here. And my Lich gets into a really bad spot. I'm not quite sure. I moved him in there because I wanted to go after that Acolyte. And now I'm going to get trapped because that Dreadlord's going to come in. My Lich tries to get around them and he can't. So now he tries to move back in here. And what I wanted to do was basically run my Lich away, so he'd be forced to sleep me to try and surround me, and then I could use the Staff of Teleportation because I knew he would have the mana to sleep. Well, unfortunately, I get trapped. I figure, what the hell? I'll try the Staff of Teleportation. Maybe he'll forget to sleep me or something. Doesn't happen. He barely gets that sleep off in time. So I lost my Lich. No big deal, really. I'm at Black Citadel. He's just gotten to his Halls of the Dead now, and he's lost 3 Acolytes. And his hero is still only level 2. I've already got the hero level on him right now. I am getting my second hero as well. It's my own Dreadlord to combat the Vampiric Aura that he has. And I just keep pumping the ghouls. As you can see, I've got all the ghouls are walking back to my base right now. I lost, I think, 2 ghouls in that entire battle. Maybe 3 or so. But that's really important. Like I mentioned before, it just keeps my numbers building and building. It allows me to get tank advantage. Like, I think I have one attack upgrade on my ghouls now. I can get Ghoul Frenzy because I can afford it. I can build buildings and get my second hero and such like that. So what I do here, I go with Vampiric Aura first. I figured I want to take away the advantage that he has with Vampiric Aura by just combating it with my own. So I'm going to go out and creep. Because I'm at tier 3 right now, and I've only got 1 hero out. So I'm going to get experience really quickly here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to creep the green expansion, or the green creeps, right outside the bases. I haven't even touched yet. And I'm going to get level 2 on them. Now, if you go back and you look at him, he's got 5 ghouls in his Dreadlord. I have 11 ghouls at my Dreadlord right now, and another, 5 or so harvesting lumber back at my base. I'm also getting Ghoul Frenzy, if I haven't finished it already. Yeah, I already finished it. I'm getting cannibalized right now. And he's still stuck in tier 2. He hasn't even gotten to tier 3 yet. So there's a huge advantage that I have over him right there. And like I mentioned before, I wanted him to sleep me before I had to use the staff, but it didn't work. So what I'm doing is I'm basically just creeping, waiting for my Lich, and once my Lich is out, I'm going to go and attack. And I get my Slaughterhouse. Now, I'm debating here between Abominations and statues. And I'm like, well, statues can help keep my army alive, but it's so big that one statue is really not going to do so much. So I go with the Abomination, because the Abomination is going to be a lot harder for him to take down. I can really dish out some damage. And what I'm hoping is that he'll go after the Abomination first, because it's not really there to deal out the damage. The ghouls are there to deal out the damage. The Abomination is kind of there to soak it up. So I get just the one. I have 2 queued up, but I cancel one of them because I want mana potions on my heroes, and I also get a Scroll of Healing, which can negate any area of effect, hopefully, that he might have. I was afraid maybe he had a Lich or something like that. So here you can see he's got his Dreadlord level 3, and he's got level 1 level 2 Vampiric Aura. So he's got level 1 Sleep, level 2 Vampiric Aura, so his aura is going to be more powerful than mine. But with the faster attack speed of Frenzy plus the armor, or the attack upgrade that I have, which he has 0/0 attack right now, I will still have the advantage. Plus the Nova. Now, my second skill, I went with Carrion Swarm, because ghouls are going to go, basically, they're going to die very quickly to Nova and Carrion Swarm. Even with just the level 1 Carrion Swarm, I do have level 2 Nova right now, since it's a level 3 Lich. And here, I don't really micro this battle too much. I just kind of do an attack move, and I watch my heroes, and I'm going to show you 2 different things here at once. You're going to have to watch his army. He doesn't have a teleport scroll, and he takes a really long time to get in here. Well, I go up to the slaughterhouse first, because I really don't feel like end up losing or having another statue pop out of it if he wants to get one. Now, I make sure my Lich doesn't stay too far back, because if he comes in, I know he's got sleep on that Dreadlord. He's just going to sleep around the Lich. That's going to hurt a lot. So I get that Lich into a position where I'm surrounded by my own troops, so I can get him out quickly. And here I just keep moving the Lich in closer. I figure if he's going to attack, the Lich is going to be probably the first thing he's going to go after, especially if it's that exposed. Now, if you're watching him, he went and got a Tome of Retraining on his Dreadlord, which is why he's taking so long to get here. So now he's got level 1 Vampiric Aura here, so he's got level 2 Carrion Swarm. And I agree with getting the Carrion Swarm. I don't agree with taking all that time to go and get a Carrion Swarm, because now he's lost all the ghouls that he even had Harvest Lumber. They didn't even really fight back. He's also lost all of his towers. So now I micro my ghouls away from the buildings, because I don't want them attacking that, and I go after his army. So I'm going to send off a Nova and a Carrion Swarm here. And this is basically it. He was never really able to catch up to me in the tech because of the damage that I did early on. Also, losing that expansion wasn't exactly the best idea for him as well. And I mean, he said he didn't realize that the creeps were attacking him, or that he didn't realize that he left creeps behind. But I mean, he's basically doing 3 things at once. He's creeping, he's trying to get up his expansion, and then he's looking back at his base and saying, "Oh shit, I'm under attack." So he teleports out, and now he's microing the battle because his ghouls are so weak that there's really not much he can do to stop me. And so he's got to try and pay attention to that, sleep my Lich and stuff like that, and he completely forgets about the expansion he's already putting up. And that really costs him the game there. So I'm getting statues now. It's really kind of overkill. I don't really need them or anything like that. But, like I said, probably the wrong map to do a fast expansion on. Specifically because, like I said, you've either got the fast expansion or usually you'll get rushed. And if you get rushed while doing the fast expansion, if you can get the expansion up, like on 2 Rivers in the south, it really pays off, and it can really win you the game. But it can slow you down even against a rush like this. I faced that a couple days ago on 2 Rivers, and I think I managed to take down the mine, but he had that expansion up. And I knew that he had the expansion up, but I couldn't do anything about it because of towers and most of my army was dead. And what I do is, because he's got to rebuild his mine at the main, and then he's got to train acolytes he's got to train 10 acolytes now, assuming I got all of them. So that's still going to slow him down, especially in his tech. So you go to Necromancers, because the Necromancers, the only real counter that an Undead has to him is a Destroyer, which is tier 3, and you've already slowed him down because you can't tech if you're building acolytes. So just, a good way to counter that fast expansion if it does get up. Hopefully with a rush like with the Lich, or you could even do it with a Dreadlord or Cryptlord if you really wanted to. Just try and get your tech advantage, and if you get the tech advantage, you most likely will win. So, sorry about another Undead commentary. I know you guys are getting sick and tired of them, but I just played the game. I figured I had to do a commentary on it because I thought it was really well played, and it showed the finer points of Undead versus Undead. So talk to you guys later.